I can't just get over the feeling. Like, it is what it is.
And there's this strange energy too, like a challenge thrown out into the world, daring struggling rappers to step up and respond.
So it's probably possible it's in retaliation to Young Dolph. And if that's the case, and that's his brother, you know it's gonna continue.
It's gonna continue.
No sugarcoating, just a direct invitation thrown down with confidence and clarity. Now, for anyone familiar with the Memphis rap scene, the message was crystal clear. Big Juke's call-out was aimed squarely at the Paper Route Empire crew, and more specifically at Dolph, the man who had been independently running his hustle longer than most expected, always firing shots at CMG with no filter. Big Juke carried himself like a man who owned every room he stepped into. He was that kind of figure, the type to walk in with his chest held high, fully aware of his own power and presence. But here's the thing, Crunchy Black from 3-6 Mafia, an absolute Memphis legend who knew Big Juke inside and out, once dropped some truth that the public didn't really grasp. The Juke people saw out front, the loud, confident persona, that wasn't the whole guy.
Juke was a boss, so he moved a whole different way.
The real Big Juke was a boss through and through, a man seasoned by the streets, shaped by years of moving carefully and strategically. A real boss doesn't rush, doesn't get careless. And that's what made what happened on January 13th, 2024, hit so unbelievably hard. Because on that day, somehow, Big Juke got caught off guard.
Yeah, so he had actually left the Inferno. It wasn't a restaurant, it was an event center.
Okay.
And where they were having, like the repast after the Inferno, celebrating the life of a relative of theirs.
This repast was for Eric Bovan, a man connected to the Mims family through their aunt. It was an intimate moment, a quiet reprieve from the pain everyone was feeling. Hernandez Govan, who knew Juke personally and would later become part of the investigation into Dolph's case, would provide the clearest picture of what unfolded that day.
During the repast, Juke went outside to have a smoke break.
A moment to breathe, and that was when everything changed. They approached him there, unexpected, direct, and swift.
Things just went left.
He stepped outside for what should have been just a quick 30 seconds, but those few moments changed everything. At 47 years old, Big Juke's life was extinguished in an instant. Two men were struck by gunfire right outside the venue, a shocking attack that shook the entire community to its core. Emergency responders rushed Big Juke to the hospital, but tragically, he was declared dead upon arrival. The second man survived, clinging to life after the terrifying assault. Authorities quickly confirmed this was no random act. It was a deliberate, targeted hit. Surveillance footage captured the chilling scene in crystal clear detail, showing the victims being singled out by the shooters. Witnesses added to the unfolding story, recalling how the assailants hopped into a white Ford Explorer, distinguished by its sleek black rims and darkly tinted windows, before vanishing into the night. Meanwhile, Big Juke's mother was attending the repast just moments away from where the tragedy unfolded. The pain of losing a loved one so suddenly was immeasurable. T.K. Kirkland laid out the brutal reality, speaking without any filters or sugarcoating, painting the harsh truth with stark clarity.
Well, Yo Gotti's brother, Big Juke,
that hurt.
recently got killed right after a funeral in Memphis. I guess his mom was around him too when it happened.
Trap Lord Ross then weighed in, dissecting the footage that had circulated online, the raw, unsettling visuals that spread widely across social media platforms.
They caught him after a funeral. There was a rumor going around that the shooting happened in front of his mother.
But it was what he said next that landed hardest of all, hitting like a gut punch for those who had been following this heartbreaking saga from the very beginning.
Dolph got killed on camera. Juke got killed on camera, for the whole world to see.
As of mid-2026, Big Juke's murder remains officially unsolved. Despite ongoing investigations, the Memphis Police Department has not released any named suspects in public statements throughout 2025 and well into 2026. Tips continue to flow through Crime Stoppers, and the case is still open, but no concrete breakthroughs have been shared with the public.
This hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
And whatever the rumors are, it's 90% probably true because it's so small. So it's probably possible it's in retaliation to Young Dolph.
Govan, who probably knows more about the intricate web behind all this than almost anyone else still around, summed it up in the frankest way possible. Big Juke's final message on Instagram, the day before his life was taken, offered a chilling premonition. They don't want to face you, they want to snake you. Stay alert too, stay alive, watch your back at all times. Those words, posted mere hours before he attended a repast for a family associate, felt like a warning he couldn't ignore. He stepped outside for a quick smoke break and never made it back in. The story behind this tragedy runs even deeper, rooted in a long-standing feud that escalated from rivalry and music into something far darker. This is the origin story of how Gotti and Dolph's conflict spiraled from lyrics and beats into real-life violence and heartbreak, a tale that demands we look closer at every twist and turn. To truly grasp why Key Glock standing at that grave hits with such weight, and why it finally shook Yo Gotti out of his 2-year silence, you have to rewind to the very moment this whole saga began to simmer. Nothing from 2021, or even the events of 2024 or 2026, clicks into place without first understanding the deep roots planted years before tensions reach their boiling point. The rivalry between Yo Gotti and Young Dolph doesn't just appear overnight. It stretches all the way back to 2014. At that time, Dolph was grinding hard as an independent voice from Castalia Heights, a tough neighborhood in South Memphis. He wasn't just making music, he was funding everything himself, building his own empire, running his hustle straight out of his own pocket. Dolph's upbringing was raw and real. His parents both struggled with addiction, forcing his grandmother to raise him in a tough environment on the south side of Memphis. There were no handouts, no shortcuts. Everything came through relentless grit and raw determination. So, when Yo Gotti's CMG label reached out with a deal on the table, Dolph wasn't about to hand over the reins. Pride and independence ran too deep. He had already invested so much of himself into his journey that surrendering control was simply off the table. He turned them down flat. But Dolph didn't just keep quiet about it afterward. No, he made damn sure Memphis understood that it was a conscious, proud choice, not a defeat or something he needed to explain. He wore that decision like armor, a statement about who he was and what he stood for. In later interviews, when Dolph spoke about Yo Gotti, his words carried a quiet strength, measured, calm, but with an unmistakable edge that didn't need to shout to be heard.
Got it cool, ain't no problem with him. You know what I'm saying? It's really basically just Memphis. It's like a Memphis relationship. You know the past, the history of Memphis.
The phrase Memphis relationship is crucial. It's loaded with layers. Because in Memphis, your history isn't something you leave behind like a closed chapter. It lives in the very streets you came up on, in the hustle you built brick by brick, and in the eyes of everyone who witnessed you rise. Here, territory, pride, respect, and money are all tangled together in a way that's fiercely personal. And Young Dolph wasn't just rising. He was leveling up on his own terms, carving out a legacy that was impossible to ignore. He was making moves right in the heart of the same city, battling for the very same throne, openly refusing to give Gotti even a shred of the public respect that Gotti had built through years of hard work and street credibility. By early 2016, Dolph had boldly crowned his debut album King of Memphis, a direct and unmistakable challenge aimed straight at the title Gotti had long claimed as his own. It was more than just bragging rights. It was a declaration of a power shift. That same year, CMG's young rising star, Black Youngsta, fired back with Shake Some, a track loaded with disses aimed squarely at Dolph. To raise the stakes even higher, rumors swirled that Black Youngsta and a heavily armed crew showed up unannounced in Dolph's South Memphis neighborhood, sending shockwaves through the streets. Tensions were no longer simmering. They were boiling over, and everyone was watching this high-stakes clash unfold in real time. Then 2017 arrived and completely changed the game. Dolph dropped Play With Yo Bitch, a scathing diss track that cut deeper than ever before, slicing through the scene with a painfully personal edge. He named Gotti directly, didn't hold back, and even went as far as putting a Gotti look-alike in the video, making the message absolutely clear.
There was a very vicious diss song where Dolph was dissing Gotti's brother, Big Juke, who obviously has become a big part of this. He's obviously part, his life was taken in the end. But, that was one side of the beef. Dolph dropped that very, very vicious diss track. What was it? I think it's called Play With You.
But this was far more than just a vendetta against Gotti. The real target, Big Juke, the legendary trap lord who commanded respect and instilled fear throughout the city's streets, was the centerpiece of this attack. Trap legend Ross broke down just how intense and cutting the track really was, explaining that Big Juke wasn't a mere side note in this beef. He was the core focus. In a close-knit city with a population of under 1 million, where everyone knows each other's business, dragging Big Juke's name through the dirt on a record that blasted from every car, every barbershop, and reverberated from every phone was more than just disrespect. It was a challenge impossible to ignore. Once unleashed, that kind of public humiliation lingers. It festers in the streets. It demands retaliation. Only days after the video hit the internet, things escalated dangerously. While Dolph was on the road in Charlotte, North Carolina, his SUV was riddled with more than 100 bullet holes. An aggressive warning shot fired into a vehicle that was luckily empty at the time. Law enforcement quickly rounded up Black Youngsta and others for questioning, but the charges didn't stick and they were soon released. Unfazed, Dolph pushed forward, announcing his next album Bulletproof, signaling that no matter how intense the fire was, he wasn't backing down. Later that same year, he took moves that further cemented his place in this relentless and gritty struggle, showing that in this world of heated rivalries and citywide power plays, resilience and determination are the only ways to survive and win. Imagine surviving a bullet in Los Angeles and still coming out standing. This man was truly built from a different mold. But the opposition? They weren't backing down. Despite the tension mounting around him, Gotti chose a different approach. He publicly distanced himself from all the drama. On camera, in interviews, he dismissed the entire conflict as nothing more than marketing hype. He spun the narrative, insisting that his focus was laser sharp on supporting his artists, grinding to earn a living, not caught up in petty feuds or street wars.
How much they want to be street in their hood. Where I come from, you trying to get out the hood, not because you afraid of it, because that's the obstacle. Come on, man, the obstacle is to get money, move to a better place, move your people out of the hood, get as many shit as you can take with you. And, like, that's the goal to me. That's the real shit to me. So
these words were captured on tape, immortalized online, etched in the endless archives of the internet for anyone who chose to hear them. The bitter irony of his message didn't escape anyone paying close attention, especially when prosecutors later painted a very different picture regarding his brother, Big Juke. Courtroom allegations suggested that while Gotti was crafting an image of someone who had moved past old grudges, Big Juke was still deeply entwined in that world. The same unresolved grudges, the years of simmering resentment and public disrespect between Big Juke and Young Dolph ignited a dangerous fire. Prosecutors argued it was this tension that led someone to give the deadly green light, a hit that tragically ended Young Dolph's life at Makita's homemade butter cookies in November 2021. That day, November 17th, 2021, is forever etched in the memories of those who followed this story and the community. Around 12:22 in the afternoon, Young Dolph, just 36 years old, stopped by the bakery alone. No bodyguards, no entourage, just like he always did when he visited Memphis, buying his mother her favorite cookies. But two men in a stolen white two-door Mercedes pulled up, their intentions clear as they jumped out and rushed the shop. The brutal truth came out in the autopsy. 22 gunshot wounds piercing every major part of his body: head, neck, back, chest, abdomen, arms, every vital spot. He was pronounced dead right there at the scene. Comments poured in from observers and some insiders, capturing the shock and heartbreak that rippled through Memphis and beyond. The tragedy was more than an isolated crime. It was a stark reminder of how deep these conflicts ran beneath the surface, tangled with loyalty, pride, and a dangerous legacy that hadn't yet been fully confronted or resolved. The tension was palpable the moment news broke that Big Juke had also been targeted in 2024.
From the outside looking in, this sounds like the Young Dolph murder is still continuing its path of murder and mayhem. Get back and everything else like that.
The unspoken warning echoed through the alleys. Someone even slid through the chaos to protect Dolph, underscoring just how high the stakes were. But before any more retaliation could unfold on the streets, the real battle shifted to the courtroom, where cold, hard evidence waited to speak. The legal drama began unraveling when Cornelius Smith was arrested in December 2021 on an auto theft warrant, directly linked to that stolen Mercedes connected to the case. Then, just a month later, Justin Johnson, also known by the street name Straight Drop, was captured after a nationwide manhunt that ended in Indiana thanks to the relentless efforts of U.S. Marshals. The pieces kept falling into place as Hernandez Govan, a key figure allegedly acting as the organizer and middleman, was indicted in November 2022. The entire prosecution hinged on one critical element: Cornelius Smith's willingness to testify. Smith, who shockingly admitted to being one of the shooters, decided to flip and cooperate with prosecutors, making his testimony the linchpin of the case. In the trials of Johnson in 2024 and Govan in August 2025, Smith laid out a chilling murder-for-hire narrative, with Big Juke portrayed as the mastermind at the very top of the operation. The bombshell allegation that a $100,000 bounty had been placed on Dolph's life by none other than Yo Gotti's brother, with Hernandez Govan acting as the crucial link between Big Juke and the shooters carrying out the deadly orders. But Dolph wasn't the only target. According to prosecutors, an entire roster of the Paper Route Empire had bounties on their heads. Trap Laura Ross meticulously detailed the full list.
You know, like you said, Young Dolph was 100,000. Key Glock, who's the second biggest artist on the label, was 50,000. PRE Wu, 50,000. Snoop Bands, 20,000. And Moochie Great, 5,000.
Painting a picture of a network filled with danger and vendettas. To be clear, these are allegations from the prosecution, and Smith's testimony has not been proven as fact against Big Juke in court. Still, the image Smith painted was of a calculated and cold operation, a man who had set up a chain of command to execute his plans. One of the most gripping pieces of evidence were phone records presented during the trial, which revealed a flurry of messages between Govan, Smith, Johnson, and numbers linked to Big Juke in the critical days surrounding the murder. Among these messages was a text from Johnson to Big Juke the day before the murder, containing a turkey emoji, a subtle yet haunting reference to Dolph's famous Thanksgiving turkey giveaway at Makita's. This small detail sent the case into a viral frenzy, capturing public attention and speculation about the coded communications behind a devastating crime. The courtroom drama unfolded with all the intensity of a thriller, each piece of evidence painting a deeper, darker portrait of what may have been an orchestrated plan rooted in rivalry, power, and survival on the streets. According to Smith, it was Govan who leaked the crucial details, that Dolph would be at Makita's during the turkey giveaway event, calling it our moment, and supposedly handing over the weapons to carry out the plan. Fueled by this intel, Smith and Johnson sprang into action. The chilling thing, the hit went down right out in the open, caught on camera in broad daylight, at one of Dolph's favorite hangouts in his hometown. No hiding, no shadows, just raw, cold reality. Fast forward to September 2024. Justin Johnson faced the courtroom and was convicted on first-degree murder, conspiracy, and firearm charges, earning a life sentence for his role in the attack. Meanwhile, Hernandez Govan's turn in the courtroom didn't come until August 2025. After only about 3 hours of intense jury deliberation, the verdict shocked many. He was found not guilty on all charges. Defense attorney Manny Aurora masterfully hit two hard points. First, Smith was a confessed killer with plenty of motivation to shift blame away from himself. And second, the most prominent figure alleged to be part of the conspiracy had somehow never been even questioned by investigators. Govan himself reflected on this puzzling detail.
Well, in my opinion,
Like, how do they charge you but not him? How do you get indicted but Juke is still walking around? I don't get that part.
In my opinion, if they wanted to charge him, they could have. The same evidence that they said they had against me
included Juke.
They had against Juke,
right,
if not more.
Big Juke, a key name in the story, had already been dead before the court proceedings even began. By the time his name echoed through the courtroom, he'd been taken from this world back in January 2024, well before the trials that would have officially placed his alleged role under the spotlight. That meant he never had to answer for any of these accusations. Cornelius Smith's story wound down in May 2026 when he accepted a plea deal for second-degree murder, serving 20 years behind bars. With that, the remaining legal battles quietly closed. One gunman serving life, another behind for 2 decades, and an alleged mastermind walking free, while the man thought to be sitting at the head of the operation was left dead, his murder still unsolved. Nearby, his mother stood, a solemn witness to a moment that began as a simple smoke break, but soon turned into a somber farewell. Then, there's Key Glock. That's the name Dolph's closest circle used for him. And the meaning behind that visit to the grave, a message in itself. Key Glock, born Markevius Lashin Cathy on August 3, 1997, grew up on the same gritty South Memphis streets that shaped Dolph into the person he was. His father was... Back and forth through the years, that young boy's life was held together by the steady hands of his grandmother and aunt. They were his anchors, the constant presence throughout his childhood's storms. This wasn't just some random upbringing. The story echoed the path that Dolph had traveled too. Both grew up in the same rough neighborhood, shaped by similar family dynamics, and forged in the same unforgiving streets that forced them to mature faster than most. These weren't just coincidences. They were the ties that bound 2 destinies together long before either of them stepped into the spotlight. The connection between Glock and Dolph went far beyond business contracts or label deals scribbled through attorneys. This was genuine family, a bond carved deep into their bloodlines. Glock's aunt is married to Dolph's uncle, so the roots of the paper route empire were planted in family soil well before any ink ever touched a contract. Dolph once shared the full story behind how their paths converged, and interestingly, it wasn't music that sparked it first.
She like, man, I don't know what you doing, but I need you to get Key. I'm gonna be getting into a lot of, he just went to jail, he in jail for something, and I need you to get him and keep him with you.
It was a favor called in by Glock's aunt, and Dolph answered without hesitation. From that exact moment they met face to face, the foundation was set. There was no turning back. Key Glock later described that initial encounter as something electric, like instantly recognizing a brother from another mother.
Reached out to me and boom, we got in the car, we chopped it up, and ever since then,
y'all were locked in.
Yep.
In 2017, Glock signed with Paper Route Empire and jumped straight into the grind, working alongside Dolph on projects that introduced the world to their chemistry. Their collaborations, including the Yellow Tape Glaucoma mixtape and the Dumb and Dumber series, provided more than just music. They offered a raw, unfiltered view into the bond they shared, far from the typical artist-label relationship. This wasn't about a powerful boss dictating moves. It was a big brother and his young protege, side by side, determined to uplift their entire city together. Their hustle was genuine and grassroots, independent in every sense. No major labels, no complicated politics, no need for outside validation. Then, tragedy struck. The night the streets lost Dolph in November 2021, Glock's response was immediate and painfully raw. He didn't hide his heartbreak. He shared it openly in real time, laying bare the agony. "Damn, bro, I'm lost. My heart is torn. My brain feels like it's about to explode. It hurts just to breathe. Why you leave me so soon? I'll never be the same. All I see is darkness." Those words weren't just a tribute. They were the expression of a soul shattered. He didn't just lose a collaborator. He lost his left hand, his brother, his cousin, his mentor. The man who had been a guiding light through life's darkest moments was suddenly gone, leaving behind a silence that echoed deeper than any song could. The emotion that poured out was raw and unfiltered, the kind of grief that didn't bother to put on a mask or sugarcoat the pain before sharing it with the world. In 2022, Key Glock made a powerful statement with his track Proud, featured on the long-running Young Dolph tribute compilation. The video was shot partially at the very place where Dolph's life was tragically taken, Makeda's Cookies. The setting alone hit hard, grounding the song in a heavy reality. In his lyrics, Glock spoke openly about the weight of holding it down after Dolph's death, about feeling lost in the absence of his brother, and about a fierce determination to honor Dolph's legacy from beyond the grave. This was no hollow tribute, it was a heartfelt mission. The song captured enough attention to land on the Billboard Hot 100, marking Glock's first ever appearance on the chart. But for many, the line that echoed most loudly wasn't the one about being proud. There was a different verse that immediately grabbed the street's focus. "If I ever get the chance, bet, I won't miss 100 rounds." Those words hit like a chilling throwback to the night of the Charlotte shooting, the moment when more than 100 bullets were fired into Dolph's SUV. That brutal attack didn't just change the course of one life, it sparked the rise of the bulletproof mentality that followed. Glock never publicly pointed fingers or named names, and he didn't have to. The message was clear to anyone familiar with Memphis's streets. The context was already deeply understood. Then came August 2025, when Hernandez Govan walked out of court, acquitted of all charges. Almost immediately, Glock shared "My city failed" on social media, though he quickly took it down, like a silent shout in the night, a digital expression of frustration and defiance. A few months later, in May 2026, when Smith's plea deal wrapped up and the last official case closed, you might have thought the story was over. But for those involved on either side, this felt far from the end. Tensions lingered, unspoken and unresolved. Then April 2026 arrived, and things took a new turn. Glock made a pilgrimage to the grave of Big Juke, a figure wrapped in his own complicated history within Memphis's streets. There's always been a persistent rumor swirling around Memphis, one that predated Dolph's murder. Whispers of an intense confrontation between Key Glock and Big Juke somewhere in the skies or at an airport. Stories vary. Some say it was a heated verbal clash. Others suggest something more physical, a disrespect that goes beyond words and hits core values in that culture. After beating his case, Hernandez Govan himself alluded to this incident as a spark that added a deep personal edge to what might have otherwise been seen as simple business conflicts between rival camps. This was about more than just power plays or territorial disputes. It was about honor, pride, and those invisible lines that, once crossed, ignite far more dangerous fires. Official confirmation? There's none. But in Memphis, you don't always need paper proof. The streets have their own way of knowing the truth. There's always something unmistakably powerful that makes a moment feel undeniably real, an event that cuts through the noise and hits straight to the core. What Key Glock did at that cemetery wasn't just some random act. Whether he fully understood its gravity or not, it spoke a language the city of Memphis already knew deeply. It was a message carved in tradition, a signal bold enough to stir a reaction from a man who had been silent for 2 long years. 2 years without a single public word about any of this unfolding drama. This was a man who had witnessed his older brother caught off guard outside a funeral meal, had seen the courtroom battles attempt to pin blame on him for a rival's murder, and yet, through it all, chose to remain quiet. Back in 2024, after Big Juke was killed, voices like Bosco and 100 laid out the blueprint for this kind of coded communication, sharing firsthand insight from the street, showing what happens when loyalty is tested and when the streets themselves demand respect and answers.
Honestly, I think, me personally, like just me being a former street dude, like, and if that was my people, for me, that shit wouldn't be over until we got Gotti.
From Pre's viewpoint, we saw the raw side of this unwritten rulebook. But whether you stand on one side or the other in these conflicts, the code stays the same, unbroken and unforgiving. Because the question haunting Yo Gotti every single time he steps outside, every move he makes in Memphis, every ripple from someone like Key Glock sending subtle reminders into the world, circles back to the same uneasy truth that his brother tried to face in that haunting final Instagram post, the post that seemingly sealed his fate. It's the question that lurks beneath every handshake, every conversation. Who around me can I really count on? Who's acting suspicious? And how long until what I've built in this city becomes the very thing that puts me in danger? As of mid-2026, Big Juke's murder remains officially unsolved, still a cold case in the city's collective memory. Meanwhile, Key Glock hasn't slowed down a bit, dropping new singles and gearing up to release a fresh project on June 19th, 2026. Yo Gotti continues to steer the ship at CM&G, navigating the highs and lows that come with the business and life on these streets. The legal system has done what it always does, sentencing, acquitting, cycling through pleas. But Memphis is a town with a long memory and a tightly woven community. Then, in late April 2026, a grave visit leaked online turned everything back into the spotlight, making sure the whole world remembered, loud and clear, exactly what this story is about: the loyalties, the losses, and the unbreakable codes that define an entire city. This isn't just a drama frozen in time. It's a living, breathing saga that's still unfolding. It teaches us that in places where respect and reputation mean everything, every move has meaning, and every silence speaks volumes. This is Memphis. This is the street code. And this is the story that, for better or worse, refuses to fade away. If this story grabbed your attention, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the world behind the headlines, and share this video to keep the conversation going. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think happens next? Your voice matters, and together, we keep the story alive.